I've been driving for Uber for almost 3 years now. Nights, mostly. The city feels different when the sun goes down, quieter but not truly silent. Streetlights hum, tires hiss against the wet asphalt, and sometimes you can hear the faint laughter of drunk strangers spilling out of bars. I always liked that atmosphere. A little lonely, a little eerie, but predictable. At least, that's what I thought. That night started like any other. My phone buzzed, showing a pickup request from the edge of town, near the industrial district. Not the best area, but not unusual either. People get stranded, people need rides home. I didn't think twice. I pulled up to the location, an empty lot with broken lampposts, the kind of place where shadows gather and don't let go. I remember checking the clock on my dashboard. It was 2:47 a.m., the kind of time when the world feels thin, fragile. I saw him standing there. Or at least, I thought I did. A man in a dark hoodie, still as stone. He didn't wave, didn't approach, just stood, head slightly bowed, as if waiting for me to invite him inside. Normally, riders open the back door right away. This one didn't. He moved slowly, unnervingly so, and slid into the back seat without a word. I glanced at the mirror, expecting to catch his eyes, maybe a nod, but there was nothing to catch. His face, God, I struggled to describe it, wasn't blurred, wasn't hidden in shadow. It simply wasn't there. Smooth, featureless skin stretched where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been. I froze. My mind screamed at me that something was wrong, but my body betrayed me. Out of habit, I mumbled, "Good evening. Where are you headed?" My voice shook, but he gave no response. Then my phone lit up. Destination entered. Home. No address, just that single word. The car felt colder, heavier, as if his presence warped the air itself. The smell of damp earth and something metallic filled the cabin, sharp and invasive. My hands trembled as I shifted into drive. The screen on my phone glitched, the map flickering in and out, but still drawing a route somewhere into the countryside. Every few seconds, I glanced back. His head was turned toward the window, but I couldn't shake the sensation that he was watching me. That faceless void somehow radiated attention, pressing into me like a weight. The streets grew emptier, darker. Lamps vanished. Houses thinned out until there was nothing but trees and the endless road. I wanted to ask him again where we were going, but something inside me knew it wouldn't matter. His silence was an answer in itself. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, the leather slick against my sweating palms, and as the city disappeared behind us, I realized something that made my stomach twist. I hadn't locked the doors. The road ahead stretched like an endless ribbon of darkness. My headlights cut through it, weak and pale, as if even the light itself didn't want to be there. The silence in the car had grown unbearable. I could hear every detail of my own body, my heartbeat pounding in my ears, the wheeze of my breath, the faint creak of the steering wheel beneath my grip, and beneath it all, something else. At first, it sounded like static. Faint, irregular, like an old radio struggling to tune. I thought it was coming from my phone, but when I glanced down, the screen was blank. The GPS route had vanished completely, leaving nothing but a black void. Yet the sound persisted, soft, broken whispers crawling up from the back seat. I didn't want to look. Every instinct told me not to, but my curiosity, my fear, forced my eyes to the mirror. He hadn't moved, not really. Still seated, still facing the window. But his faceless head was tilted at an unnatural angle now, as if listening to something only he could hear. The whispers grew clearer. They weren't random static. They were words. My name. I nearly swerved off the road when I heard it, whispered in a tone I can only describe as wet, like a mouthful of water trying to form syllables. Daniel. The sound stretched, distorted, echoing in my skull rather than my ears. I slammed the radio on, desperate for noise, any distraction. But the speakers only spat back the same whispers, louder now, overlapping voices. They chanted fragments of sentences, nonsense mixed with something far more chilling. No face, no mask, home, home, home. I killed the radio, but the voices didn't stop. They were inside the car, inside me. I gripped the wheel tighter, forcing myself to speak, my voice cracking. Listen, whoever you are, this isn't funny. I'll take you back. Just tell me where you need to go. The whispers ceased. For a moment, the silence returned, heavier than before. Then, slow and deliberate, he turned his head toward me. Even without features, I felt his gaze. My skin prickled, my stomach twisted, and then his head began to move. Not in a natural shake, but in short, jerky motions, side to side, faster and faster, like some broken marionette. The air grew suffocating, thick with the stench of rot. I gagged, choking on it. My eyes watered as I gasped for breath. I opened the window, desperate for fresh air, but outside, there was nothing. Not trees, not sky, not even road, just blackness, endless and absolute, stretching in every direction. I hit the brakes. The car skidded, tires screeching. But there was no impact, no stop. We weren't moving on asphalt anymore. We were floating. And still, the passenger sat there. I turned to face him fully, my chest heaving with panic, and for the first time, I saw movement beneath the skin of his face. Something pushing, writhing, pressing outward from within, as though a dozen unseen mouths were trying to force their way through. And then, he smiled. That smile, it wasn't real, not like a human smile. It stretched across the blank canvas of his skin, as though invisible hands were carving it from the inside, forcing it into existence. No lips, no teeth, just the grotesque impression of a grin pulling too wide, too deep. I couldn't look anymore. My instincts screamed at me to escape. I slammed my foot on the gas, but there was no engine roar, no vibration of wheels. The car moved without sound, gliding through the endless void outside. My chest tightened. I realized I wasn't driving anymore. The wheel turned on its own, jerking in unnatural rhythms, pulling me along a path that didn't exist. My phone buzzed violently on the dashboard. Against my better judgment, I picked it up. The screen flickered with static, lines of distorted text scrolling across. Do not look behind you. But I already had. The faceless passenger was no longer in the back seat. The seat was empty. My gut turned to ice. Slowly, with every ounce of dread filling me, I felt the weight shift in the car. The air pressed against the side of my face, heavy and cold. He was in the front seat now, right beside me. I could see him in my peripheral vision, sitting impossibly still, that carved, skin-deep smile lingering where no mouth should be. My body trembled, but I couldn't move, couldn't scream. Every nerve in me was locked in place. The whispers returned, louder now, crashing over me like waves. Dozens of voices, layered and jagged, speaking in unison. Drive home, drive home. My eyes burned as tears spilled down my cheeks. I begged, out loud in my head, for it to stop. Please, I don't want this. I don't know where you're taking me. And then, silence. I dared to glance at the road. For the first time since it began, there was something there. A house, a lone, decrepit structure, crouched in the void. Its windows were black holes, its roof sagging under the weight of years. My headlights illuminated the front door, hanging open, as if waiting for us. The wheel jerked violently, steering toward it. I tried to resist, tried to wrestle control, but my arms felt weaker than a child's. The car slid to a stop in front of the house, engine humming softly, though I knew by now it wasn't really running. And then the passenger moved. Slowly, deliberately, he turned his head toward me. His hand, thin, gray, unnaturally long, rose and pointed at the house. The command was clear. I shook my head, sobbing, whispering, No, I can't." And for the first time, he made a sound, not words, laughter. A low, guttural chuckle, like bones rattling inside a coffin. My body betrayed me. My hand reached for the door handle on its own. The door creaked open. The air outside reeked of decay. I stepped out. I don't remember what happened inside. I only remember waking up in my car, parked in the same empty lot where it all began. My phone was dead. The back seat was empty. The world looked normal again. But ever since that night, every time I pick up a passenger, I check the mirror. Because sometimes, just sometimes, the face looking back isn't there.
Subscribe to Horror Story Bar.